I'm so nervous. Write it down.
I was shown technology, by the way, where I could have turn on your Chromebooks and I can watch as you write your piece. Whatever you have. No, it's awful. Actually, I don't believe that. You're Anyway, I was shown that technology. I'm not doing that. Okay, let's go over this piece. When I'm so staff have to be here every Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to noon. I hope to jam out a bunch of videos. And I'll have like a laugh track out there. So
will you actually take the time to edit that in?
I don't know.
You should. It would make the whole situation. It would.
Yeah.
It would make it a lot.
All right, so let's read over this piece of paper. This is a binding contract between you and me. So this document outlines the procedures and protocols for the CIS American History class held at Somerset High School, which aligns with the on-campus 1308 American History course taught at the University of Minnesota. And the University of Minnesota just announced yesterday. The rest of the year, they are all online learning. The campus is closed. So you are going through exactly what the kids on campus are going through as far as this class is concerned. So daily video, I will be posting a daily video. It'll be on the CIS history website. I will talk about content. I will be presenting stuff just like I'm doing. Like I said, I have to be here every Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah.
They stopped that.
Did you hear that they stopped it?
They're gonna try to get rid of that.
Do you know someone that might have inside information?
No.
Your mother.
No.
Anyway, as far as I understand, I still have to be here. Maybe that's not true. But then my dog and I will make videos at home.
Please.
Anyway, they will be posted every day by 9 a.m. And if you have any questions, I have office hours, and I'll talk about that later. And you will be able to send any questions to me directly via Remind, email, whatever, and I will immediately respond. I'll respond anyway. Yeah. Google Slides. Any slides I go over in the daily videos will also be put on the CIS History website, just like normal. And again, if you have any questions, I will be available minimum 2 hours every school day. That I have to. And by the way, I'm delighted to do so. What else am I going to do? I'm reflooring the bedroom, so that's fine. Kias. It says here, because the Kias were assigned before school was closed, they will still be available for credit. It says you don't have to do the Kias. That's just like normal. They are optional. That's just like normal. And I will continue to double your score for this unit. I will carry that policy over to the next unit. So Kias are completely optional. And I will continue to say, do half, I will double your score. This is the policy of those of you that are getting the college credit. Why don't I read through this whole thing? Yeah, and then I'll answer any questions. Okay. So here's where things start to change. Up until now, nothing's really changed.
Yeah.
Now, look at the Unit 5 testing window. The 3 online exams will be made available to you March 25th, and they will remain open until March 27th. It says you can take the exams at home or wherever. I don't care. These exams will be open note exams. There was one other possibility I investigated, and that was where I would have my computer with 70 little screens and I can watch you as you do it. I'm not doing that. So I accept the probability, and I would encourage you, take advantage, right? Open notes. You got one shot. So make it count.
Yeah, let's go.
It says you can access any resources to find the answers to your questions. Prompts for these online exams will be available on the website. So just like normal, right? You have to go and look at a prompt to find the answer. That'll be available on the website. On March 25th, All of the videos that I've made will be removed. All of the slides that I made will be removed. So did you do some smart things to make sure that you still have access to that stuff? I leave it to you to figure out what you should do to make sure that you still have access to that information, even though I'm going to remove it. I will answer all questions after I'm done, even though you're my favorite. Next major change is Blue Book essay. Look, this essay will now be a 4-paragraph typed essay that you can submit through Google Classroom. Google Classroom will have a place for you to submit this Blue Book essay beginning on March 25th, and it will remain open until March 27th. So you have 3 days. Now, I anticipate one of the questions, can we type it before then and then simply submit it on Google Classroom? Sure, I would. I mean, do you think I'm going to stay at my computer from March 25th and stare at it for 3 straight days?
Yes.
I'm not. Hey, so let me just point this out though. Because you now have the world at your fingertips as far as the writing is concerned, the level of expectation of how quality this is goes up. What was going to happen is that you were going to be given 1 class period and you will be writing 4 paragraphs in that 1 class period. But my expectation of detail would go down because you only have an hour to write this sucker. And so I don't want 3 pages of intro. But now that you can type this thing today, for all I care, quality goes up. Okay. Next, it says paper 4. This is still a thing. Paper 4 is still a thing. Nothing has changed. And you've already got the rubric. Lindy and I sat down for about an hour yesterday, and he is going to have fun with you today as far as that thing is concerned. First thing I want you to notice is that he changed due dates up here. One due date is later. You'll notice it's now the 4th of May rather than the 1st. That gives you that weekend. And it's like, I don't care. But the other 2 are hard due dates for him, not me. I don't really care about these 2 due dates. He made them the 10th of April rather than one being the 17th and the next being the 24th. Both are due for him on April 10th. And I assume he's going to talk to you about that sometime today. Okay. And then last thing, and then I'll happily answer any questions. Office hours. I use Remind. Please feel free to text me at any time. I'll answer. And then it says I can guarantee I'm available for any sort of interaction with you every school day. I have to be immediately available to you every day, 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. and 2 to 3 p.m. Okay, so you can pretty much guarantee I will respond immediately if you have any sort of issue. Now I will answer any questions. Go ahead. Yeah. This is on the website as well. Anyone else? Ben.
No, you're gonna pass
So it's office hours are from 9:30 to 10:30, and you're here tonight and doing on Tuesday and Thursday. Can we visit you on Tuesday and Thursday at school?
No, you're not supposed to be in the building.
That was my question.
How can you visit me at school if you can't visit?
Okay, we do.
No. You are not only, you are not supposed to be in the building after today. Do not come here.
Can we just sit on?
Sure, get a lawn chair, you and I can visit. That'd be great. Anybody see that story? That guy visits his dad. It's so cute. Anyone else?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
If I have a Kia, if I told you previously to include a Kia score, can I tell you to get rid of it?
Yes. Yep.
Because I have one in there.
Yep, absolutely. Again, the best thing would you just email me, send me a remind,
I'm not on Remind, so.
email. Or do you have like people called friends? Do you have friends? because they probably have Remind, and then they can send me. Although that would get dangerous because then you'd start saying, "Yeah, I want you to count." Like one of your friends could say, "Jackson definitely wants you to count that one Kia," and you like got 10 out of 50 or something. Like, okay, Jackson has friends.
I don't have friends.
We know. Anybody else? Let's go. I'm telling you, this class is normal. This is a normal class. We keep going. Yes, dear. If I were a betting man, I'd say I sure hope we're coming back. I'm optimistic that we're coming back. I'm not on camera right now. We should definitely be coming back. I'm not even kidding.
Wait, you think it's gonna get that bad?
We're supposed to go.
Oh,
I have 3 slides. Let's cover 3 slides, and then we can put out any fires that are necessary. Here we go. Before the U.S. was in World War II, FDR met with Churchill, and Churchill drew up something called the Atlantic Charter, similar to Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. There are so many parallels between World War I and World War II. It's kind of cool. It's almost like it's the same war with a slight delay between it.
So World War III will be the same.
There already has been a World War III. It's just not called World War III, but
What was it called?
it was called the Cold War.
Oh, those that enveloped.
In fact, we are in the middle of what I call World War IV. We've been in it for about 20 years. All right.
Whoa.
Do you remember Woodrow Wilson had 14 things? This is why we're fighting. And they were very noble goals. Some of them unachievable, but still noble. Same thing here. This is, if the U.S. is in, this is what we want. We are not in this to gain territory. We are not in this to gain an empire. We are in this to set things right. Again, that's pretty noble. Hey, world, if we send American soldiers, welcome them as liberators, not as conquerors. They're not going to conquer land. They're here to liberate you from those evil Nazis. We're here to spread democracy. Similar to Woodrow Wilson, who said the same thing in his 14 points. We're here to disarm. Again, similar to Woodrow Wilson, who said the same thing. And let's try this League of Nations thing again. Let's try that again. Again, similar to Wilson's 14 points. Okay? So if the U.S. is in, this is what we're all about. Meanwhile, the thing that everyone knew would happen, happened, and that is Germany invaded the Soviet Union. The Germans knew they would break that agreement that they had. The Soviets knew that they would break the agreement that they had. It's just that it actually happened now. It was called Operation Barbarossa. And if you're under the impression that, gee, now the Germans are fighting a two-front war, no, they aren't. They actually aren't. They've accomplished their goal on the western part of Europe. They've captured Europe. Now, are they bombing the snot out of London? Yeah. But still, that's not necessarily like an actual front war. They've accomplished their goal on the Western Front. Now they're turning eastward. Who remembers? Why are they fighting on the West? What is their goal? What do they want with France and Britain?
To get them to join their side.
Very good. To remove their hostile governments and put in a pro-Nazi government because they are fellow Aryans. But there's none of this. I should say none of this because there were certainly French Jews, etc. But there was much less of this wiping out of the population stuff. Over here, these people are inferior. They are less than human. They are Slavic people, and they're in the way. And so we are going to remove them. So here's where all of the death camps were. All 6 death camps were in Poland. Okay? There were no death camps in France. Now, were there concentration camps? Sure. But concentration camps are different than death camps. Death camps had really one purpose. I imagine you can figure out what that was. Okay. As the Soviet army is retreating, they got within 50 miles of Moscow. That's how successful the German army was with this blitzkrieg. Okay, very, very successful. As the Soviets are withdrawing, who knows? What was the Soviet strategy? Go ahead.
They like blew up bridges and stuff and made it really hard for the Soviets for any non-Soviet forces to continue.
Very good. Okay, so if blitzkrieg is based on the idea that we will live off the land as we advance toward you, if we remove everything, good luck. Good. You're going to have to slow down because you got to still eat. And if you can't get food here, you got to go back to Germany to get it. They called it scorched earth. We'll destroy our own land so that you have to go back to your supply line. Okay?
Wouldn't that be like similar to total warfare?
It's total warfare against yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly right. It's total warfare against yourself. Go ahead.
Weren't they also waiting for the winter so they could?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. One of these weird coincidences. Russia's had 3 awful winters. Awful winters. One was when the French invaded under Napoleon. The second was during World War I, and the third was during World War II. It's almost like Mother Nature was on Russia's side to punish the invading armies. Anyway, kind of interesting. Huge invasion, largely successful, but as the longer they go, the more the Germans have to slow down because they can't live off the land. This was all part of the Soviet strategy. And I mean, to a certain extent, the Germans were very successful. They just ran out of gas. They just ran out. And so we'll see how the tide turns later. Any questions on this slide? Let's go. So again, with each slide, it seems like the U.S. is a little bit closer to war, direct involvement in the war. The Atlantic Charter says if we're in, this is our goal. Well, if you're creating a list of goals, it certainly seems like you're going to be in soon. Okay, here's our next step. You are looking at transport lines between the U.S. and Britain. Germans have subs. The way to fight submarines is to protect with naval vessels any transport ships, right? You have an American naval vessel, and subs don't like naval vessels because then they get blowed up. And so you're looking at designated lines of travel between the U.S. and Britain so that we can continue to arm the British, and we would escort. American boats would escort shipments to GB, that's Great Britain. This means that American naval vessels are at risk of direct confrontation with German submarines. All of the neutrality acts were repealed. Well, if you repeal your neutrality acts, what does that mean?
You're not neutral.
You're not neutral, right? You're not neutral anymore. It doesn't mean you're in it yet, but it's sort of a clear sign that things are coming. Merchant ships were armed. They're given permission to protect themselves, which is generally true. But the U.S. Navy armed, weaponized the boats that were carrying goods to Britain. So not only is the U.S. Navy protecting them, but the boats themselves are protecting them. Okay. Short and sweet. Time for me to sip some tea.
What kind you got today?
Is it always black?
I don't think, I have a theory that no one likes green tea. I know some of you think you like green tea. No, you don't. You don't really like it.
Green tea's okay.
No, it's not. It's a fact. In fact, it's on your next test.
Really?
True or false? Green tea tastes like barf.
True.
You think I'm bluffing? We'll see what you really think. Just answer the question. See if you get it right.
Well, I mean, I don't have to believe my answer.
Our last slide, which is kind of a nice place to leave us on our last day together.
Don't say it like that.
For a
Don't
while.
Say it like that.
For a while. is what is it? What happened that caused the U.S. to become directly involved all in? And that is, of course, Pearl Harbor. It's kind of amazing that the Japanese were stupid enough to directly attack the U.S. And what we're going to try and figure out is, why did they do that? The U.S. is not in. They're close, but they're not in. Only a direct attack of the U.S. will bring us all in, and then the Japanese directly attack. It's amazing how stupid it was. But let's try to figure out, why did they do that? Why did the Japanese attack Pearl Harbor? Okay, so let's try and figure out why. Well, if you're Japan, who is your main adversary? Is it China? China doesn't have a navy. Is it the Soviet Union? No, the Soviets are busy with Operation Barbarossa. They are all in against fighting the Germans. They have no interest in fighting the Japanese. They're busy. Is it the mighty Australians? Well, another shrimp on the bobby? What? Australia? Adorable. No. Who is their adversary? Who is the one entity that could stop them from territorial conquest? And they conclude that it's the U.S. The U.S. is the only power that could possibly stop them. And because of the large naval presence in Hawaii, the Japanese did their homework and they figured out that there were aircraft carriers. The U.S. had these aircraft carriers, a new weapon, and stationed in Hawaii. Well, let's go attack them. Let's go sink the aircraft carriers. No one can stop us. Question?
Was Operation Barbarossa Germany's or the Soviets?
German invasion of the Soviet Union.
Okay.
Okay. So it says here, to protect their empire, they attack Pearl Harbor. Again, their target was the aircraft carriers. Does anyone know anything about Pearl Harbor? What happened that day?
All the
Now? How about mods 5 through 7? That's the designated time. I'll see you then. Okay. That was weird. Good.
were all the aircraft carriers gone?
That's right. None of the aircraft carriers were in the harbor that day. They had all been deployed. So the Japanese pilots sank 0 aircraft carriers that day. None of them were there. Now, they attacked on a Sunday. That was intentional. They attacked on Sunday because they knew a thing about American culture, and that Sunday is recover from hangover day. Oh, you call it Sunday, like church day. Oh, yeah, that's right. Go to church day. Okay. The attack at Pearl Harbor was devastating. Until 9/11, it was the largest mass killing in American history. True or false? The Japanese attacked the United States at Pearl Harbor.
No, it's America.
It's false. It's America. Hawaii was not a state. Hawaii is a territory. But they did attack America that day. And the conclusion was they needed to do it to protect all of this. But bad news for the Japanese, none of the aircraft carriers were harmed. They just happened to be not there. This has led to some conspiracy theories that suggest that FDR knew about Pearl Harbor and secretly ordered all of the aircraft carriers to get out of Dodge. That's crazo. That's nutty. We got lucky. I think we got lucky is the more likely explanation. Question?
The Philippines still under American control at the time?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure about that, but I think the Japanese I know they successfully took the Philippines. When, I'm not sure, but they did. They captured the Philippines. In fact, one of the arguments, I'm about to help those of you with Google essay, one of the arguments justifying American use of the atomic bombs was the treatment of American prisoners of war in the Philippines. I'm going to bring up the Bataan Death March. The Bataan Death March. Look it up. The brutality that the Japanese showed at Bataan. Imagine walking on foot from here to Eau Claire and Japanese soldiers with bayonets are walking with you, and if you sit once, they end it. No food, no water, and you walk on foot from here to Eau Claire. And the U.S. government maybe punished the Japanese for that kind of behavior. Okay. Very good. I am done. Any questions about content? And then I will say any questions about the next 3 weeks. It's a weird situation. None of us have been through this before. We're going to make the best of a bad situation. I will try and make it so none of the videos are more than, say, 10 minutes. I'll try and make it 10 minutes or less.
Yeah.
Sorry? Was that to me?
Do you know anything about prom?